think everywhere except Instagram, which is just giving me a delay. Cool, we're officially up everywhere. All right, welcome to Essential Chaos.
Hello, hello.
Tom, thank you so much for joining us and agreeing to guest host.
You're welcome.
First off, we haven't had you on yet. Can you tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and how you got into Rancid?
Well, we met through trivia. I host trivia. I'm a
Love
big music
trivia.
fan. Yeah, big music fan. Um, what I do? Well, I'm like the foremost Rancid expert on my block, I would say. Nobody knows more about Rancid in this neck of the woods than me. I originally got into them. I guess it would be probably around seventh grade. Back in the day, MTV used to play what they would call like buzz bin videos or buzzworthy videos, and a Rancid song happened to be on it called Salvation. And it was like super heavy rotation, like for the like week or two period that they had it on. And I remember seeing the band and be like, oh my god, like it was like my first foray into like punk rock or like that scene. Because I knew about like punk rock bands, but I've never like kind of got into them. And then I just started listening to that album, and it was like my favorite thing. I They turned me on to like all the old stuff from the '70s, like the Clash, the Sex Pistols, like all that kind of thing. I can honestly say that it's probably made me who I am, like getting into punk rock and like the ideals and everything like that. All stems from seeing that Rancid video back in the day, like '93 or whatever it was,
That's awesome.
on MTV. So yeah.
So I know like a lot of the music that you play at trivia, you definitely lean that direction. I've heard so much Ramones. I've heard a lot of
Mm-hmm.
Rancid.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about the first time that you ever listened to this album.
Uh, I probably listened to it. Well, a year before the album came out, they released like if you bought the Let's Go through Epitaph. I don't know how you would do it back in the day, mail order catalog or something like that. The people who bought it through Epitaph, they got like a single, like randomly in the mail of Roots Radical, which is the song, like the lead single off that album. It was like a different version than the one they ended up releasing. But people had that, and I heard that Roots Radical, and I didn't know where it came from. I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then the CD came out in August of '95, I think, and I'm pretty sure I got it for my birthday. I got it with like birthday money, so I got it like maybe a couple weeks after it was released, and the rest is history. I probably like listened to that. I think I went through like two cassettes because my first cassette ended up getting like torn up,
Sure,
got
yeah.
eaten by a machine and stuff. So I probably over the years I probably owned like five or six editions of this album. So every song to me, like I know this whole album like front to back, like all the words, which is sometimes hard to understand. But you listen to enough Rancid, you kind of become like a Tim Armstrong, like a translator. Like you play it for like somebody who has no idea what the hell they're listening to. Like what's this guy even saying? I'm like, oh, simple. He's saying blah 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 blah. I love his delivery. I love his like his attitude, like the whole thing about it. Like they're my 100% my favorite band of all time. So I probably got this album, yeah, a couple weeks after it came out. So I don't know if I have like any solid memory of listening to it of the first time, but it's pretty much been in my rotation ever since it came out like 30 years ago this year,
Oh
95.
my gosh, yeah. So 30-year
Mm-hmm.
anniversary. I think this was released on, I wrote all this down, August 22nd of 95. So
Okay, all right, yeah.
we're
So it
hitting
was
the
like,
tail end of summer. This was,
all right, so it probably was like right after. I probably did get it like right when it came out because my birthday is August 18th. So if it came out like a couple weeks after that, I probably
oh,
saved up my birthday money to get it.
and that's the best way to do it. Like, right, best birthday present you could have bought yourself.
Right. And at the time, you had to really be dedicated to a band to go out and spend your hard-earned money. Because I can't tell you how many times I bought a CD because I liked one song, and you end up like hating yourself because you have this piece of crap CD with like one song that you like, and you're never going to listen to it again. You kind of have to like fool yourself into thinking that, oh yeah, it's a good CD, I kind of like it, but no, no regrets without come the wolves.
Yeah. So when I asked you about hey, do you have recommendations for this project? This was the first album that you said came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
why this album out of their whole discography?
Well, there's truth be told, there are Rancid albums I like more than this one, but this would be the one I would say would be the one that's easily digestible to the masses. This is the one that probably has like the two best well known hits, Time Bomb and Ruby Soho. So if I were to try to get anybody into Rancid, like this would be the album. There's a lot of ska in it, a lot of upbeat, nothing too crazy, too heavy. Something to be like, oh my god, what are you listening to? Like a lot of these songs are easily digestible to the listening public. It's probably definitely 100% their most radio friendly album.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Yeah.
All right.
Um, yeah.
Let's talk about the band. So I've heard this album before, but never all together start to finish. Like I knew the hits off them.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, you had never heard this album before, right?
No, so my memory of the first time hearing it's easy to
Fresh.
remember because it was yesterday.
Oh, okay.
um, and we'll get into the deep dive into the track listings later on, but you know, right away my impressions were, wow, this. I don't mind we're having a battle royal in the background with my two dogs, apparently, but I mean, my first impressions about not knowing anything about the band, their type of music, definitely for me reminded me a lot of the Clash, the Ramones. Like it just had that vibe to it,
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
guess. So completely concur with what you said earlier, Tom. It's like no, as soon as I heard it, I was like, wow, this. It's like if I wouldn't know who the band was, that's who it would remind me of right
Yeah.
away.
Well, they've openly admitted that the Ramones and the Clash are their two biggest influences, like growing up and
Yeah,
in life and stuff. So yeah, a lot of similarities can be made,
yeah.
especially with the Clash.
So you could definitely see the influence on the band in this album for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So to anyone watching, we are streaming live. So if you've listened to this album, if you have favorite tracks, talk to us. Let us know. We want to hear from you what your thoughts are on this album. We're streaming on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Oh, hey Charlie, how's it going? So if you have listened to Rancid, if you have a favorite album of theirs, talk to us. Say hi. Let us know what's going on.
Hello.
So band members are top three band members. You have Tim Armstrong, Matt Freeman, and Lars Fredrickson. Lars came in '93, but of course the first two were started off in the early '90s, '91.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Brandon Steinhardt. I never say these names right. He came in '06 after Brett Reed left.
Yes.
And then we have one touring person.
I don't know who that is.
I see Kevin Bivona. So I'm assuming at some point you've seen
yeah,
Rancid play.
yeah. I've probably seen him. I don't know, a couple dozen times by
Oh,
this
nice.
point. Yeah, but is the Bavona guy? Is he the keyboardist?
Yes.
I know. Yeah, all right, yeah. Bavona brothers. Tim Armstrong does like a lot of like side projects with those guys. So, all right, I do know that name.
Cool. Yeah. So they've all been playing kind of on and off since the earliest of '91. Again with your two founding members, and then Lars who
Mm-hmm.
came in, and again iconic voice. You know, you can really hear the difference between him and Tim, especially.
Uh huh.
Um, and then one thing that I thought was really cool to learn was apparently there was some pressure to get Billy Joe Armstrong to join Rancid at some point in
Yes.
their history.
Yes, he was. I believe he was actually in the band for like a hot minute. Um, yeah, Tim Armstrong actually offered the second guitarist position to Billy Joe Armstrong first, and but Billy was too involved with Green Day at the time. He wanted to do his own thing with Green Day. So he passed. They did actually write one song together that came out on the album before this called Radio, which is if you're a Rancid fan, you know Radio. You probably actually know Billy Joel has a writing credit with it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was technically in the band maybe for like a week or something like that before he decided he wanted to like pursue Green Day. You know, obviously he made the right choice. But yeah, it would have been interesting. Although now I'm so used to Tim and Lars's voices together, I don't think I could picture Tim Armstrong and Billy Joel singing together. It's definitely a woulda, coulda, what would have happened kind of situation. But
That's for sure. I mean, you know, especially hearing Green Day's progression over the years to hear Billy Joe kind of even try to pretend to do what Rancid does, I don't think I could picture that at all.
yeah, yeah. Green Day's always kind of been like more of like the upbeat stuff where Rancid can really get into like the hardcore, like especially like a couple albums later down the road, they made like an entirely like a hardcore album, which is pretty much just like minute 15, minute 30 songs, just like fast and furious. And yeah, I can't really picture like Green Day has a few hard songs, but nothing like crazy.
No, nothing like that. I love Green Day. They're in like the top 5 bands for me.
Hmm.
I I imagine they go harder on stage than they do on their albums. What's Rancid like in concert?
I actually enjoy the one of the few bands that I've seen live that still have that like dangerous energy as far as the crowd goes.
Really? Okay.
A lot of like concerts you go to now, everything's like so corporate and like people are just kind of like standing there like their phones out. Like if you go to a Rancid phone or a Rancid concert, you're holding your phone. There's a good chance that phone's gonna like get smacked out of your arms because the crowd's pushing, the crowd's surfing. Just everybody's just like it's the craziest thing.
But that's
Like
how a concert's meant to be.
yeah, it's like the surging. Like you'll like you can be all the way in the back, and within a minute you'd be all the way up front if you just kind of like just push your way through, and nobody cares. Like the last time I went, there was a guy at the front like getting kind of like aggravated. He kept getting like pushed, but I'm like, dude, you're at a punk rock show. Like get with the
Like, what do you
program. Yeah,
expect? Yeah.
yeah. But like energy wise, like they always bring it. They kind of a lot of their set now. It's like no surprises. They pretty much played this album practically like in its entirety. So if you've seen them once now, you've probably seen like what they bring, but it's still like everything's just like high energy, like the crowd's into it. It's just like pure like punk rock fun. Which is something that's missing in like a lot of rock shows or like concerts nowadays. It's more about being there and not experiencing it. Whereas you go to a Rancid show and you're feeling like the body heat. You got people sweat just all over you, which probably doesn't sound fun to like a normal person. You know, people like their space, but when you go to like a Rancid show, you're in it with the crowds. Like, you know, gotta keep your head on a swivel because you might get knocked, you know, in the back of your head because somebody's like stage diving or not stage diving, but crowd surfing coming up from behind. It's like a whole like experience. I would 1,000% if you're into like that kind of scene or crowd energy, 100% go.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those things you experience at least once. We have a
Yeah.
comment in chat that Ashley's with us. This is one of her top 5 favorite albums, and they do put on such a good show. There is so much good energy. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
something you should probably experience at least once.
Yeah. 100%.
And put your phone away during a concert. That's just good etiquette.
Right. Yeah, like I said, if you're holding your phone at a show, I might be lucky to take like one picture at the front row and it's right back in my pocket because I know it's not going to last long.
Yeah, I think that's something that's just missing in today's society. You know, it's like a lot of people just don't enjoy the moment anymore. You know, it's like
Hmm.
they're so concerned with, oh, let me capture this so that I can look at it forever. And it's like you're not even enjoying where you're at right now because you're too busy, you
Right.
know, trying to
Yeah.
get the perfect shot of something that you'll probably post once and never look at again. You know, it's
Right.
like just enjoy that moment and those vibes, you know. It's like you'll
Right.
never be able to experience the same exact show in that time frame. So it's like just
Hmm.
enjoy it.
Oh,
Yeah,
but it
because
was like a live album.
Yeah.
yeah. You know, it's always a good thing when you're like, oh, I wish I would have taken more photos because you're actually like living in the moment and not like
Hmm.
concerned about the actual photos itself. You're just
Yeah.
living life.
Yeah, it's time to live life. And comment in chat right here. If you leave a Rancid show not smelling like sweat and beer that's been spilled on you, did you even experience a Rancid show? We'll give them a second to pop back in.
The first time
first time
of
it
the night
happens.
that you throw the guest off.
Kick him off. Ejection.
And you know, I thought of giving Tom a warning that for some reason I guess like drop off.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with
No
that. We
apparent
just kicked
reason,
you out. It's
but
Well, I'm back.
You're back.
I'm back whether you like it or not.
You're like, oh, we're not done talking about Rancid yet.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so let's talk more about the album itself. So there are 3 major hits on this album: Roots Radical, Time Bomb, and Ruby Soho.
Hmm.
And then by
Loved the
1996
power ballads.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Loved the power ballads. It was great.
Yes. Time Bomb and Ruby Soho are definitely. If you were to ask somebody to name a Rancid song, 95% chance it's going to be one of those two songs.
It'll probably be
Um,
Time Bomb more than Ruby
yeah.
Soho.
It's
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because as I mentioned, it's like the first time I heard the album, I didn't know any of the singles. I wasn't, but to be fair, I wasn't really into the punk scene when back then.
Mm-hmm.
Now as I get older, it's like Ashley knows. It's like I like Green Day. I listen to that, so it's like I'm slowly listening to some of this stuff. And when I heard Ruby Soho for the first time, yes, I was like, "Ooh, I like this one."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, even if it wasn't a single, I think that would have stood out to me. And there's some other ones that stand out to me also,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll get into that when we dig in. Because Tom, one thing I love is when we start digging into some of the stuff on an album that wasn't a single, that you really vibe with. To me,
Mm-hmm.
it's like that's the true testament of, hey, this is what makes this album so great.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's some good ones. Ruby Soho. There's the the one hook in there that you just keep singing over and over again. And of course, we'll get to it when we start hitting the track listing. Um, so this album went certified gold on January 22nd, 1996. So it took less than a year to go certified gold.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2004, it went officially certified platinum. So another 8 years after that, I think if I'm doing that math right.
Would you say 2004? Yeah, that's
2004,
9 years. I guess it depends when in 2004. Yeah, 8 or 9
September, give
years.
or take.
Okay, so like 9. Yeah. All right.
So a lot of people bought it. Let's go through some track listings.
All right.
All right, we kick off with Maxwell Murder, the intro to the album.
Mm-hmm. Awesome opening. Kind of punches you right in the face, like right from the get go. You kind of know what you're getting into. Amazing bass solo from Matt Freeman. Supposedly recorded in just one take. The whole thing. And yeah. Fun fact: it's actually the song that they open every single one of their concerts with as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's the opening
Interesting.
track. Yeah, it's the opening track to the album and the opening track to their live shows. But yeah, it's a powerful, straight right in your face, kind of like this is it. This is what we are. This is what we're doing. I would say it's probably like the hardest track on the album. Just like the ferocity coming at you.
Mhm.
Yeah, this one definitely came in hard. It was a great intro to the album. It was also quick for an intro.
Yes, yeah. Well, most of their think of that. Most of their songs, their intro songs, are like relatively like quick, like a quick punchy song, just to, like kind of get you in the mood, and then here we go off of the album.
Kevin, did you get punched in the face when you listened to this song?
Well, first thing I wanted to know is what dial 999 meant. So I definitely had to look that one up right away because I had no idea that that's the equivalent of 911 over in England.
Yes.
But so I had to look that one up. Punched in the face, my goodness. I kind of was chatting with Ashley a little early. I didn't give too much away, but I said, it's like we had a very exhausting weekend because of Record Store Day.
Yeah.
And usually when I do these reviews and take notes, I do it, have the album play in the background a couple of times while I'm doing some busy work when I'm not on meetings. And I said, for some reason, I could not do this with this album. And it's like I couldn't get anything out of it if I wasn't 100% focused on it and concentrating on it because I was like, there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, wait a second. What is this?
Yeah.
But yeah, punched in the face is a good description for Maxwell Murder.
Mm-hmm.
And read a couple theories about what the song could be about, which I thought was interesting. Some people brought it back to Maxwell's Silver Hammer by the Beatles, referencing that it could be that, which is about the Maxwell murders out in England. I think that happened in '72 out in London. So very interested in the lure behind it.
Yeah. I heard those too. I just think it's about like a bad dude who's just like living his
Yeah.
life like in the seedy part
Mhm.
of London and just out to murder, doesn't care anything else, just wants to murder.
Yeah.
Good
Certainly set
times.
the tone for the album. There's a lot of interesting lyrics throughout, and you really do need to sit and read them along with. If you're trying to
Yeah.
actually figure out what they're saying, you have
Oh
to read
yeah.
them. Um, so I've got notes throughout this whole page here. I know you have everything memorized. That's great. We were exhausted after the weekend, but I've got notes that I'm like, some of these lyrics are so good, and some of these are like, did he really just say that? So this was one of them that I was like, I had to read along. But I think this was a great intro to the album. I think of a How I Met Your Mother episode when I listen to this because it's all psych. There's no come down at all throughout this album. It's just
Right.
all up. Um, so this really set the tone for what to expect.
Hmm.
Oh, for sure. There was no and that's why I made that comment about the power ballad, right? It's like there's no slow paced song on this. And first thing I was like, holy crap, there's a lot of tracks on here. It's like I think this is the most tracks for any album we've done on this podcast so far. And some of them are really quick. So it's like if you don't pay attention, you're gonna miss a lot of stuff. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? As we go through some of these tracks.
Yep. Yeah, and Tim Armstrong punches a lot of syllables in his delivery too. Like
Hmm.
these it doesn't seem like the lyrics should fit where they do, but he manages to just kind of like grumble and mumble his way through them. So again, it takes a while to learn how to fully translate a Tim Armstrong song, but
Hmm.
thank God lyrics are included sometimes because
As
even
a
I
thing.
get stumped sometimes.
Well, and that's going to take us into the 11th hour.
Hmm. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorites on this album. Um, Again, 14 or 15 years old listening to this thing. The song, like I take it as like the power is within you, the power to change. Like you can't do anything about the world. Like the world sucks, but you know what? The power really lies inside of you. The power to change and the ability to change, it all lies within yourself, and you just gotta change yourself before you can even like change the world. So
Yeah, absolutely. I got the same take on this one. I was reading into a little bit of, again, the background behind this song. A lot of rumors online. One of them was saying that, hey, this is actually a song about the 11th hour when the band decided not to sign to a major label and go with a different label,
mhm,
but still saying that, hey, it's like, as you mentioned, the power, you have control, right? It's like you
yeah,
can do what you want if you put your mind to it and the decision is in your hands. It's almost like, you, it's like if you go out there and say, and I always think of like if you're addicted to something, right? Some
mhm,
people are addicted to vinyl records, no names mentioned, you know. But even if it's something like cigarettes, right? It's like if you tell yourself, "Hey, I'm never going to be able to quit smoking," well, then you're not going to do it, right? But if you tell yourself, "Hey, yes, I can quit smoking," you already have that energy like, hey, yeah, I can do this, as opposed to, if you say I can do something or I can't do something, you're right in both cases. It's all in your state of mind.
mhm.
Yeah, exactly that. This one I loved lyrically. I wrote down, love the lyrics. Do you know where the power lies? It starts and ends with you. I keep a quote book of random lyrics that I love and find over time. That will be in there come some point this week.
Yeah, yeah, because yeah. Do you know where the power lies and who pulls the strings? It starts and ends with you. So yeah, basically
Hmm.
you're the marionette of your own life kind of thing. Like if you don't want something, you can make the decision. This is it for me. Let's move
Hmm.
on to something else. That's the message I get from the song.
Yep, exactly.
So
And gorgeous song. So fun.
mhm. Yes.
And then we've got Roots Radical.
Hmm.
So that's one of the hits.
Yes, this was the first single released off the album. It's the second version of the song. Personally, I like the original version better. You can find that on YouTube. It's a little bit more raw, a little bit more like kind of like their previous album sounding. Um, but yeah, it's another great song, and something Rancid is famous for is just name dropping streets or like names of people. And this song does both. The first person they
Mhm.
mentioned in the song is a guy named Benzinato, which if you have the Rancid B side and C side, there's actually a song called Benzinato. So if you ever want to like get
Hmm.
further into the backstory of this Benzinato guy, you can go listen to that. But yeah, it's a fun song. Um, I used to be in a band, and this was like one of the songs we covered, and it's such like a fun bass line to play. Like the bass line is just like bouncing all over the place. Um, again, another great high energy song, another staple of their live shows. Everybody's into it. Um, yeah, another hit in my book.
Yeah, for sure. I love the so I looked this up and I there may be some lore here, I'm not sure on the truth, so I have a note to specifically ask you about it. All the punk rockers and all the moon stompers there's references a skinhead fan base. Do they have a lot of skinhead fan base in the rancid culture?
Uh, well, not like the Nazi skinhead thing, but like back like the skinhead culture when it first started in England, it was just like working class kids.
Okay.
They were like all into like kind of like yeah early punk rock, like what they called like the oi band music, which is a lot like the singer sings something and then like the
The
crowd like
chanting,
yells
right?
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's like a back and forth with the crowd. And like the early skinheads were like super into that. And then it got that movement kind of got like what's the word I'm looking for? Like it kind of like not compromised. I don't know the word. But like the skinheads kind of like took elements of that and kind of like took it for themselves. So now when you think of like a skinhead, you're like, oh, like Nazi, but
There's
like
a
the
bit of a negative
original,
connotation now, but I get the
yeah,
original follow. I get you.
American History X or something like that. Like it
Okay.
was like, um, yeah, but the original skinheads are just like working class England kids coming like from shows like right after working, so they had like the Doc
Hmm.
Martin work boots, like jeans, like t-shirts with like suspenders, and yeah, they just all kind of like shaved their head so they wouldn't have to like deal with like hair and stuff like that. It was kind of like a scene, like a 70s punk rock ska kind of scene. So yeah, when he says like all the all the punk rockers and the moon stompers, yeah, he's just talking about like old school punk guys. Um, because they actually do make Lars especially. Lars is like super heavy into like the. In fact, he has an oi band.
Okay.
So he actually like adopted like the suspenders and like polo shirt Doc Martin look for a little while, shaved his head and everything too. So yeah, it's more of the old school England skinheads and not the super crazy Nazi skinheads.
I'm picturing like a the guy from Eurotrip who was like big into like soccer or possibly football that was like, "Oh, let's go drinking." That's the
Uh,
guy that I'm picturing when you say
that's
skinhead.
that's pretty much what I picture anybody from England being
That's fair,
like.
yeah.
Just yeah,
Couple comments in chat. The word we were actually looking for is co-opted. This is a new term
okay, there we
for.
go. Yeah,
There we go.
all
Thanks,
right.
Bobby. And
Yeah.
Roots Radical makes me want to dance every time. So
Hmm.
yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Apparently, it was inspired by a Jimmy Cliff song from his 1982 album.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, he mentions is it does he call it radical roots or roots? Yeah, he
I think it
says
was
something like
Radical
roots radical.
Roots
Okay.
when I
Yeah.
looked that one up.
Hmm. But yeah, that the ska and Jamaica sound are like super heavily influenced by Tim Armstrong was super heavily influenced by that sound and stuff. So they're always talking about, especially the album that came after this, super reggae influence, super like mellow, kind of like I'd say more reggae than ska even.
Hmm.
That would make sense, especially with the Jimmy Cliff influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a good hit, and then another hit followed it, which was
Hmm.
Time Bomb.
Yep. Yeah, I would argue that. Well, it is their biggest hit. I think it hit like number 8 on like the modern rock charts or something like that. But I would say this is the song that kickstarted the whole ska genre of the '90s. Because I was actually looking up to see like when other like ska hits came out at that time period, like the mid '90s, when it was like ska was like the big new
Oh
sensation.
yeah, the Mighty
And
Mighty
I
Bosstones really started coming up at this
yeah,
time too, and
and I couldn't find a single song that predated this song. Like there were bands, ska bands that were out before this song, but nobody had like MTV hits or radio hits at that point. So I do think this is a song that kind of like kickstarted like an entire like genre, like the second wave of ska coming to the United States. I place it all. I mean, if you enjoy ska, you're happy for it. If you hated the genre, then you curse them for it. But this is definitely like the first ska hit of the '90s, as far as I know.
No, I think you're right about that. Everybody knows this song, and it's been everywhere because it was a hit. It did chart high. So even if you weren't a fan of Rancid, you knew this
Hmm.
song.
Yeah.
So this was the first song that I ever heard by Rancid, and so we have a comment in chat. It's exactly what I was gonna say. The first time I heard Time Bomb was on Gilmore Girls because Lane was skanking to it in one of the
Okay.
bedrooms, and that's when I learned about Rancid.
Everybody recommends Gilmore Girls to me. I haven't gotten around to watching it yet, so I'll take your word on that
You
one.
should
But
absolutely watch Gilmore Girls. It's
okay.
it's a
Oh,
fall thing. Like get some hot chocolate and some cookies and watch it.
okay.
It's so
All
worth
right.
it. But so many references to Rancid throughout the show. You will absolutely find them if you are a fan.
Okay.
So Easter eggs to look out for.
All right. I'll have to keep an eye out. I'll start watching it. I'm watching Rock of Love right now. I'm going back to that. Maybe after Rock of Love, I'll watch Gilmore Girls.
We're gonna have to have a whole conversation about Rock of Love. I
There
love
we go.
Bret Michaels so much.
No kidding. Me too.
I love
Like
him.
I'm almost finished with season 2. Then I'm going to go on to
The
Rock of
Love
Love
Buzz?
Bus. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my
Yes.
God. I met Bret Michaels 2 summers ago, and the only thing I really wanted to ask him about was all of these things that we have noticed on that show because we've watched it so many times.
Yeah. Well,
It's
it's
so
funny.
good.
It's funny you say that because I was going to see Bret Michaels. I mean, we're going in a totally
So,
different
that happens
thing.
a lot here.
All right. I was going to go see Bret Michaels at the Six String Bar, whatever it's called, in
Right before
Foxborough.
COVID.
Yes, but there was a Lars Fredriksson solo show playing that night in Boston. I was like, well, I'm gonna go. I mean, I already was gonna go see Lars Fredriksson solo, so I went to that. But like, if there was ever a chance I was gonna like meet Bret Michaels, it would have been that night, probably at the Six String Grill and Bar or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's been a little dream of mine to meet the guy.
Oh, he's amazing. He smells so good.
Oh, does he?
Dear Lord.
Kevin hears once a week about how much I love Bret Michaels. So he's like, God, enough.
It's
I can't
amazing.
stand him.
I hear about Bret Michaels multiple times a week, and I hear about Taylor Swift's Reputation coming out soon. Taylor's version. That's
Well versed in music, apparently.
Yes.
But yeah, so question in chat is skanking. So what is skanking? So
It's just a style of dance. It's kind of like how do I describe it? It's almost like a shuffle. Like
yeah,
your arms are kind of going like this, and your feet are like kind of like shuffling forward too.
like imagine trying to get like dirt off your shoe.
Yeah,
and-
kind of. Yeah. Like you're, but
like-
it's like you're like doing like a weird little like run in place. Like
Yeah, like the Running
Yeah.
Man, but a little bit more dramatic.
yeah, like
Yes.
like it's instead of like your feet kicking back to run, you're like kicking your feet like forward kind of thing. Yeah, that's
Yes.
all skanking is. Yeah.
But
if you've
that-
ever
that's-
watched an older Portuguese gentleman dance, same thing.
there you go.
Same dance. It's the only move they know. I can say that because I'm Portuguese. So.
But that's a dance really like that Rancid's known for now. No.
Well, I don't know if I mean ska music is. I mean, if you ever want to say somebody's known for a dance, it'd probably be the Mighty Bosstones because they had a band member whose sole job was to dance on stage while they played. Maybe the Specials too. The Specials might have had a dance, right? I'm not sure, but I know the Bosstones definitely did.
But was it specifically skanking?
As far as I know, what skanking is, I mean, I'm not like a dance expert, so there could be like a special form of skanking. But as far as I know, skanking is just like that weird little like that weird
You,
little like ska
you-
dance.
You are not a skanking aficionado.
Oh, I'll skank. I'll skank how I know how to skank. Like I'll skank it up all night, baby. But whether it's technically the right way to skank,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
It's my
debatable, right?
way of skanking. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'll sit with my beer in the corner. That's all good.
I'll skank it up.
The answer is it's punk rock's version of the Running Man. So we're gonna
there
go
you
with
go.
There
that.
you go.
Yeah.
All right. So after Time Bomb, we have Olympia, Washington.
Hmm. Another song where they just name drop streets. Again, I feel like whenever they're writing a song, if they don't know what to talk about, they're like, what street are we on? Oh, 52nd and Broadway. All right, let's
Sure.
just write that down.
You know, you had to wonder how much drugs they were doing to be like, I'm gonna sing about a song to remember how to get back to where I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love this song so much. It feels like the song was right after you've smoked so much weed and you're writing about your night that turned way too shitty and you just want to go home. So maybe you're a little homesick.
Yeah.
I thought this was a fun one, but also kind of sad because it's like, wow, how lost are you?
Yeah.
But I loved it.
I mean, it seems like the only fun they have in the songs is like playing like a pinball like a lonely pinball machine. Like yeah, they're just like hanging out and they meet some girls and like, all right, let's go play some pinball. Like that's like the extent of the song. So yeah, never really thought about it. I will say, last time I went to New York, I did leave my family in Times Square so I could get a shot of myself at 52nd and Broadway. I jogged like maybe however many blocks away, like 4 or 5 blocks, only to find that there wasn't a single 52nd and Broadway sign to be found.
Aww.
I was like, what a ripoff.
That sucks.
But that's a me problem. That's not your podcast audience problem. That's a me problem. But I'm still a little better.
We have to find a 52nd and Broadway somewhere for you.
I found pictures of it online. I don't know what happened when I got there in real life, but
maybe it's one of those signs that gets stolen a lot, so they don't bother to put it anywhere.
Could be.
Yeah. But yeah, Olympia, I have no problem with Olympia. It's not my favorite song, but it's definitely not like a song I'm gonna skip when it's playing.
I feel you. I like this one. I thought it was fun. I definitely wouldn't skip it. I think I would be like, can you play this one for me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kevin, any thoughts on this one?
Well, they really slowed down the pace with this one. No, I'm just kidding. I liked it. I mean, I definitely wouldn't skip it. I mean, it's just, I don't know, for some reason, as you said, it's like how out of it were they that they didn't know how to get back to wherever they were going. Kind of gives me kind of like that movie. I always forget what the hell it's called. You know, when you wake up the next day and you don't know what happened the night before. You're going to tell me what the Hangover, you know? It's like, kind of reminds me of that a little, where, you know, even though they know what they're doing, obviously, but it's kind of like, you know, they're in a state of mind where it's like, not really sure what's going, just going to go with the flow, and back to Olympia we go. Dude, where's my car? That's a good movie.
Yeah, I was going to say Memento, where the guy has to like tattoo what he did.
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of movies where you got to figure out what you did the day before.
And then?
It's a good genre.
Right. Lockstep and Gone is next.
Mm-hmm. I take this as just kind of like one of those like a horror movie trope, like it's quiet around here. Yeah, too quiet. It's like you're like in a bad neighborhood, but there's like nothing, there's no like sirens, there's no gunshots. You're like, okay, something is wrong here because it's too quiet, kind of thing. Like you can't put your finger on what's going on. You don't really know what's going on, but you know it's not right, whatever it is.
Yeah, this one, I couldn't quite tell what was happening in the song. I wasn't sure if it was a breakup song. Somebody was at a crossroads. The music was fantastic, but listening to it, I was like, it felt a bit more rock and roll and a little less ska punk.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting Motley Crue vibes.
There you go.
Oh my God. I was waiting to get through the podcast that I could say we finally got through an episode without mentioning Tommy Lee. And you just had to mention Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. It goes hard and fast, just like Tommy Lee.
That's absolutely fair. Comment
We're
in chat,
referring
a trivia
to-
question recently was to name the 2 words the guys got tattooed and do "Where's my car?"
Oh yeah, that was just this past time. Yeah. Dude and sweet.
Yeah, no, Tommy Lee comes up a lot, but you know what? In all fairness, he's influenced a lot of people.
More than I thought he did once we started digging
really, he was very well known, and we're in '94.
Well, I know
this
he
would
was
have been
well
recorded.
known, but...
Still peak Motley Crue time.
Was it though?
I mean, an icon's an icon.
I think,
yeah,
I think they had that other guy that wasn't Vince Neil. Or I don't even know. I don't remember his name, but it was the guy who's not Vince Neil.
The other guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're still around, but were they really? It's debatable.
No.
Okay.
Vince Neil is Motley Crue.
Yeah.
And now they have Vince Neil, who sounds like Vince Neil, but you don't know what he's saying.
Yeah. They're probably better
Poor
off with
guy.
the other guy at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, like you mentioned, I mean, I think this one's just about living in a rough part of California,
Could be.
right? It's like
Yeah.
almost like to me, it was what I got out of it was like lock your door, step out, and go. You know what I mean? It's like don't hang around for too long. That's what
Yeah.
I got out of it. I mean, I may be completely off base, but
Yeah. And to bring it back to the Oi band thing, this is probably their best example of like an Oi style song on this album, where they'll be like the enemy or the enemy is here. There's something wrong, but he's coming real soon. I'm lockstep, I'm gone. Like
Mhm.
the call and response kind of
Yeah.
style.
I like this one. I enjoyed it. Would still listen to it again. It was, again, hard and fast because I think we're about to hit the no, we're not at the halfway point yet, right?
No,
No.
no. Again,
No.
no.
But
You're on
again-
track 7.
Keep bringing me upwards
Next.
while I'm like getting to that halfway point. Next is Junkie Man.
Ooh, I wonder what this one's about.
Okay, but that's a really interesting question that you say.
Right? I know. That's why I said it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Lyrics started strong with this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. I mean, obviously, I think it's just about like drugs or like a kind of like a homeless drug kind of guy. Like they want to lock him up or get rid of him, but they really can't because he's not really doing anything wrong. He's just kind of like a junkie guy like in the neighborhood. Fun fact about this song though, there is a spoken word part of this song, and it's performed by Jim Carroll, which if you don't know, he was like like. Did he write basketball? He might have written Basketball Diaries, but he also performed a song back in the day of the Jim Carroll band called "People Who Died," which is pretty much just kind of like an old punk rock standard song. And he's just like naming like all these people he knows who died. It's like a 10-minute song. And it's just like constant like people who died and stuff like that. Like I didn't find out that was him who did like the spoken word until way after the fact. But yeah, that's my fun fact for this song. Other than that, I do like the way he delivers parts of this song. Trying to think of the part I'm thinking of. The part was like shock him, knock him, block him, or whatever he's saying. Like he's just like a constant like just boom, 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 boom again, like the typical Tim Armstrong style of delivery. Yeah, will somebody be a witness? Please tell me that he's crazy, but he's not, and they know that they can't get him. He's not crazy, but it's like the way he says it is just like such like a ferocious like way of saying it.
This is one of those songs that, looking at it lyrically, to me, and not listening to the actual track, right? For me, it's like lyrically, just reading through it, I'd be like, oh, this is going to be interesting to like hear the actual performance, but never did I think that they could fit all of this into a 3-minute track. Right? It's like there's just a lot going on. You know, there's a story being told, and to me, it was like, wow, to be able to fit that musically into 3 minutes and tell that story, that's pretty darn impressive to me.
Yeah, lots happening in here. I mean, the lyrics start off really strong, and I'm convinced that this isn't so much about just like, the homeless guy who's addicted to drugs. It's about how people view the world, because he's talking about the common man doesn't suffer, and it's the soul that's never been kissed. So it's talking about people that maybe aren't at this, I want to say at the same level, but just maybe down on their luck, going through a hard time. Because he keeps saying, tell me what your story is. It's not really taking the opportunity to understand different perceptions and perspectives from people. So,
Right.
You get that spoken word. It's and then just tell me your story over and over again. It was incredible. I think this was a really fun song that you can either take at face value or you can look into it a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I never really thought of it that way. Yeah, like he wants to know. He's not just judging him for being a junkie. He wants to
Yeah.
know like why he
Yeah.
is the way he is. Okay, yeah, I never thought of
and
that before.
and those opening lyrics actually stood out to me, especially the line "Only the soul that has never been kissed." And I'm like, Tisha, imagine someone who's never heard this being on. Well, let's say they're at trivia, and it's like, who sang this lyric or who wrote this lyric, and you have Rancid, Whitney Houston, or Mariah Carey. It's like, uh, not many people would pick Rancid, I think, if they didn't specifically know this song. They'd go, Mariah Carey wrote it,
Yeah. Well,
But it's
Tim
very interesting.
like Tim Armstrong was homeless for a while, and he was addicted to
Hmm.
alcohol and drugs. So like, in fact, as their albums go, like he gets like less and less like angry about stuff. Like his first album, like I feel again, I'm just kind of like talking on my ass here, but I feel like if I ever got homeless, I'd be kind of prepared for it just from listening to their first album so much. Like it's very
Hmm.
like in your face, like sleeping on the pavement, like begging for like money and like living with like rats and stuff like that. So it is something that he's very like familiar with. Like a lot of his like themes and stuff go back to like homelessness or drugs or just like being down on your luck.
And to me, that's what connects a band or a lyricist to the common folk, or people who are going through similar life situations. It's like they're writing about things, they're singing about things that people who have gone through such things, like, they know exactly what they're talking about. It's like, hey, I was in that position at one time. We
Mm-hmm.
talked about this with the Nine Inch Nails last week. It's like, it resonates because it's like, hey, I'm not singing about, you know, hey, I'm this mega star now and I can really sing about anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they still bring it down to, hey, it's like, this is what I went through. This
Mm-hmm.
is, this is the real stuff. This is real life.
Yeah.
And people hear it and it's like, man, I know exactly what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Well, I saw an interview with Bob Dylan once, and he said like he could never write the way he did back in the '60s because he's not that same person anymore. Or even like I saw a thing with
Hmm.
like Dee Snider. It's like your first album, you're raw, you got it, and then you start writing your second album. It's like, oh, what do I have to be angry about? I'm like floating in my like mansion's pool with like not a care in
Hmm.
the world. So you can't like
Yeah.
you can't like resonate to like that anger. You can't like tap back into like that anger and frustration you had when you were like younger.
Hmm.
So
It's true.
Exactly.
All right, next is Listed MIA.
mhm. Uh, this song's all right for me. Like, it's not one of my favorites. Again, I still like it. It's not a bad song, but like, I don't really have much to say about it. Apparently, it's about some guy that was in the scene back in the day that just like straight up vanished and nobody knew what happened to him. Like, they couldn't like reach him. Nobody like he was always at shows and he just like straight up disappeared and nobody knew if he died or moved away or something like that. Um, but other than that, I don't really have much to say about this song, I guess.
Honestly, same. It was really catchy. There was one lyric that said, "I'm less than zero when you add up the sum." That I'm like, oh, that was. I like the way that he put that again when you're going through listening. This one was
Yeah,
great until he started dropping the not so pleasant f bomb, which I'm not big on with my
yeah.
8-year-old running around. But
Well, it's funny because I think I hadn't told you the title of the song, right, Ashley? But I was like,
yeah,
yeah, I had it blasting. I connected it to my surround sound. It's like I had it blasted. Then all of a sudden I'm like, any opportunity I have in New England, of course, to open my windows and doors to get some fresh air. It was a nice day. I'm like, oh, let me open all the windows. The kids next door are out playing. Like, ooh, I should turn this down now.
Yeah. It's realistic though, because like back in the '80s and '90s, people had no
It
problem throwing
was.
that word around. Or like,
It,
oh,
it
you're
was.
different, man. Like, oh,
yes.
you have a mohawk. Oh, you must be,
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
right now, if someone were to drop a lyric like that, it would be like, "Oh
Oh,
my
the end of the
God,
world.
what's going on?"
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
Um,
appropriate for the time. I
but
still don't want my kid listening to it.
and, and
Right.
and at first, when I heard it, I was like, "Oh, it's like kind of
Right.
like the Dire Straits lyric that actually we talked about recently." And I was like, "Oh, you haven't done any Dire Straits," and you're like, "Well, that lyric," and I'm like, something. It doesn't bother me as much because it's like the time frame when it was written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it wasn't. bad, I guess, even though it was bad. I shouldn't say bad, but it wasn't as taboo, I guess, as it is now, where it's like, well, you can't really say that right
Yeah.
now. You know,
I guess
it's like,
I guess the saving grace he was saying he was called that. He wasn't calling somebody
Right.
else that. He was the victim
Yeah, he
of
was the
the
victim.
slur. Yeah.
So reading a page out of a diary, that's all well and good. So this would probably be the only skip on the album for me.
Mhm.
Even though it's still very catchy and upbeat, and like if I could put this on, yeah, let's do some skanking while we're
Yeah.
sitting here adult recreationaling.
No offense taken to that one. I We could skip that one. It's not a big deal to me.
Yeah. But then we get Ruby Soho.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, this is probably their second biggest hit, or like the
Yes.
second song people think of, if not the first. Uh, yeah, it's just kind of like this to me is like the down tempo song. Like it's kind of like you really hear him trying to like sing his heart out and be like emotional. Um, Although it's funny because I was actually like really listening to the song the other day, and I just pictured like the narrator of the song as being like some kind of like loser who just like watches his neighbors all day. He's like watching like Ruby Soho and her boyfriend break up, and he's just like he's not invited to parties. He just like sits at his home. He's just watching like this soap opera between the two lovers like unfold before his like eyes, like watching it through like the window and stuff. Um, but yeah, it's again one of their biggest hits. Another live show staple. In fact, I think they end all their shows with this song, if I'm not mistaken.
That would make sense. I know we have some
Mm.
people watching that have seen Rancid. Let us know what are your thoughts on Ruby Soho? This is definitely a classic. It reached number 13 on the Billboard Modern Rock Tracks. It definitely should have gone higher, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a catchy one. And it's used everywhere. It was in Rock Band 2, Guitar Hero, and apparently the wrestler Dory Prange wrestled under Ruby Riott, who got her inspiration for her name from this song.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny because when I first heard the time, like, oh, there's a wrestler named that too, and I
Mm-hmm.
had to do a little bit of research, but yeah, definitely. I mean, super catchy. As I mentioned earlier, this is the song that, without knowing it was a single, like, definitely caught my attention right away.
Mm-hmm. Uh, yeah, it was big at the time too. Like I remember this was like another song that was always on MTV. Was always being played on the radio. Um, yeah, it's again one of their best known hits. I don't personally, again, it's like another one of those songs that I've heard it enough that I don't need to like seek it out.
Hmm.
But I like it when it's on. Like I'll sing along to it if it's like on like a random like radio or like at a bar or something like that. It's always a pleasure to hear out in the streets, so to speak. But yeah, it's not a go to for me.
So I did learn that they are making a TV show called Out Come the Wolves.
Is it a TV
Yes,
show or a movie?
yeah, I saw that too. I heard it was a TV show.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
TV show. Okay.
And
Yeah.
so it's inspired by the East Bay punks of the mid 90s. The
Hmm.
last update I have is that we are getting a character named Ruby.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
and Taryn Manning has joined the cast, so I'm wondering if that's going to be Ruby.
Oh, the girl from Orange Is the New Black. Is that
Yeah,
her? Oh, okay.
Pennsatucky.
All right. Yes. I watched most of that show. I don't think I watched the last season, so I don't know how it ended.
You
But
didn't miss
I
a
d-
ton. It was kind of
okay.
disappointing.
All right.
Don't ruin it.
I didn't. Go watch Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Quiet. I haven't watched it yet.
Daly City Train is next.
Hmm. I will say this is probably one of my all time favorite bridges of all time. It's the part was like some men are in prison even though they walk the street at night, and other men who got the lockdown are as free as a bird in flight, which again I think is like kind of a cool little like line. Like there's people like living like life out in the open to have like their own prison to quote Creed or whatever, paraphrase Creed. But then you have other people in prison that are just like, yeah, man, whatever, just living my life. That's always been a favorite line of mine as well.
Yeah, I love this song. It was clearly about something getting away from him losing something. He talked about, have you ever seen an angel? Well, I know I have. Say they'll stay here for a while and then they'll fly away. It could be, again, just something fleeting in time. And then there was a musical hook in the interlude that I could not place, but it's so familiar that I it's a little earworm that I can't figure out.
Like the chorus or
The
what?
musical interlude that's in here.
It's kind of like a surf rock kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm
Okay.
like, am I listening to? It wasn't the Beach Boys, but it was definitely a surf rock. That's a
Yeah, it's
spot
kind of
on
like
with that.
yeah, like older like yeah, like old like surf rock like a
It could have been
like
something from
like
Hawaii Five O for all I
yeah.
know, but that's what
Yeah.
it reminded me of. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I
And
never
I'm
picked
like,
up
what?
on
And
that.
it
Yeah, it's
happened
like very
so
surf rock.
fast that I was like,
Yeah.
like, what did I just listen to?
Yeah. Huh. I never picked up on that. Like I know the interlude, but I never like put the surf rock.
But it was
Uh
cool the way that it did this because it's, things are running away. He's talking to your point. The lyrics are fun and they really stick out to you. And then you have this fun interlude. And throughout the entire album, the interludes really stuck out because they were so memorable. And
uh-huh.
that was another one that I was like, oh, that really caught my attention.
Yeah. Yeah, and that interlude leads right into that my favorite part, the bridge. So yeah, very cool.
I think this was definitely a standout track on the album for me, anyway.
Hmm.
Yeah. Daly
Yeah.
City was a win.
Yes. Is Daly City an actual city?
Well, to
I
your
think it is.
point,
I
they
think
like to just name drop things, so
yeah.
we got to go
Like
find a sign.
I always thought like Daly City, like it was like the Daily Train, but I think Daly City is an actual city in California.
It
Like
is, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Another street city. The more you listen to Rancid, the more attuned to San Francisco, Oakland geography you'll become.
There's got to be some like Rancid super fan out there that has gone to all these places and has identified exactly where everything
There is.
is.
There's some fan made like a homemade video of like Roots Radical, which just shows like the actual bus and the streets, and like it's like kind of
Oh,
like
that's
a
awesome.
literal video of Roots Radical.
Well, I don't blame them. I mean, if someone was talking about, I don't know, Fall River, Massachusetts on this song, I'd be like, hey, let me go make some TikToks and show people what they're
I
talking about, you know?
Couple comments in chat. Taryn Manning was also in Crossroads with Britney Spears. Yes, 100% she was. And then for the TV show movie, it says the Instagram says movie, all the info says TV show. Either way, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Anything that takes
There you
place
go.
in the 90s is usually better than what we're getting lately.
That's how I feel about the 80s, see?
It's fair. We've got Journey to the End of the East Bay.
Hmm. This is another favorite. This is actually about, for those of you who don't know, Tim Armstrong and Matt Freeman, two of the founding members, were in another band called Operation Ivy, which was like this huge influential like ska band in like the 80s. In fact, that's where like Tim Armstrong and Billy Joe met for the first time. Like Billy Joe was like a kid, like singing along on stage at Op Ivy shows, and this is basically just like his homage to growing up touring with Operation Ivy and the band and stuff like that, kind of looking back fondly and maybe not so fondly at certain points about like what happened and like the breakup and just being overwhelmed, being like a 19, 20-year-old kid, like in this like kind of popular blowing up band, and they just couldn't handle it and they broke up kind of thing.
Says this intro is the best intro to a song ever, says Ashley on Twitch.
Oh, the bass line. Yeah, it's another iconic Matt Freeman bass line. As soon as you hear like those opening notes, you know exactly what the song is.
And they've name dropped some places in here too. They say Maddie came from far away, from New Orleans into the East Bay. He says this is
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mecca. This ain't
Yeah.
no Mecca. This place is fucked.
Yeah.
Like, so,
Yeah.
this is so truthful. This one.
And it's weird because I always thought like this was like Maddie, like Matt Freeman from the band, but that doesn't make sense because Matt's not from New Orleans and like he didn't really leave because he was in Rancid. So I have no idea who this Maddie is. There wasn't any other Maddie. I guess it must have just been like a scene guy or something like that, some guy that they knew that was named Maddie. But I wish they would have maybe used a different name, like Eddie came from
Sure.
far away, or like a last name or something, because it was very confusing for a while.
Well, is that why
But,
it's Maddie and not Matt, or
I mean, if somebody says Maddie from Rancid, I'm going to think of Matt Freeman.
that's fair. Yeah. All right. She's automatic.
hmm Uh, I have a friend named Susie, and this is like her least favorite song. She says it just sounds like a horny like 14-year-old kid wrote it, which I think is what I think this is like
Well,
the what they were going for, like young
Yeah.
love, just like everything this person does just like turns me on. Like, oh my god, I got to get with this right away. Like, look at the way she uses the ATM. Like, oh my god, that's so hot. You know what I'm
Everything she
saying?
does
Like,
is amazing.
yeah, exactly.
until she's using the ATM and taking money out of your account. I don't know.
Yeah, but still, anything she does,
Yeah.
automatic. The way she moves, automatic. Like basically, this guy's like a walking horn dog. Which I think Lars Fredrickson, if we are to rank the members of Rancid as far as horniness, Lars Fredrickson to be like at the very top of the list. Like this guy's got a lot of horny songs, like just wanting to get laid and hooking up with as many people as possible. So that's the typical Lars Fredrickson style song.
I think you're right. So this one I actually did enjoy. It is upbeat. Obviously he's got a crush of some kind, and it may be more of like a stalkery infatuation type situation here. We talk about like the hits, and this is a non-hit. I think it
Mm-hmm.
would have done well if maybe they didn't do it and it was a pop song done by Taylor Swift.
Oh, maybe.
Oh my God.
But but the next song, Good Morning Heartache, did he talk to her? What happened, in the middle of this interaction?
Yeah.
Because he says the unfortunate get preyed on by vulture eyes in the line of the next song. I think these two go hand in hand. I think this is, the night and then the next day when you realize, oh shit, I did something wrong or nothing really happened.
Yeah. I will say Old Friend, it's probably one of my favorite genres of music, and it's not ska, it's the songs that sound so upbeat and happy, but then once you start listening to the lyrics, you're like, oh my god, this is like so sad. But like I can't help but like groove and dance and like feel good
Yeah.
about it. Feel good about this like horrible message or this like sad, depressing song. But you know what? It's making me feel good. So what
Yeah, I mean, well, the poor bastard woke up in Cleveland, so
yeah, oh
that's
there you
never
go.
a reason to be excited. So there's that. But yeah, I think talking about she's automatic. Things are
Yeah.
great. Maybe he got drunk, didn't go his way, and then he woke up the next day and good morning
In a whole
heartache.
yeah, whole nother city.
Yeah, who hasn't done that?
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
I've woken up in Cleveland before, but that was on purpose.
Oh
So I
well,
didn't just end up there.
I guess if you want to go there, it's not so bad. But that old friend, I think, was one of my favorites on this album. As sad as the
Mm,
lyrics were, it was great.
yeah, and you mentioned my favorite line is the unfortunate get preyed on by vulture's eyes. Like that's a good line.
That one stuck out
Uh,
like a sore thumb. I heard that loud and clear.
yeah, it goes back to again his homeless days and being vulnerable and kind of forgotten about. So
Yeah, I was reading a couple of fan theories, and so most were saying that obviously the old friend is an old love interest, but one interesting theory that someone had was that the old friend was actually heroin, and that it's a love song, but it's not about a girl; it's about heroin and heroin addiction.
yeah, I could definitely see that because I don't think he necessarily mentions like any girl or anything like that. Yeah, it's more just like
Yeah,
waking up and yeah,
so I thought that that was interesting too, and I had to look back. I'm like, yeah, he never says her or she or
yeah,
anything in the lyrics. Just an old friend. I said,
It's
okay, well that
true,
makes
yeah.
sense too.
yeah. And he's talking about living on the street again, from the cold blacktop to the hot concrete. So yeah, maybe again, it's
Yeah,
kind of like a junkie man. This time he's the junkie man.
yeah.
Hmm, interesting.
Then we have Disorder and Disarray.
Hmm. Uh, I don't know what this song is necessarily about. Like, I think it might be about like you said, like signing a major record deal and like feeling like they sold out. Like the businessman, come and shake my hand, show
Mhm.
me numbers that I
Mm,
understand. Like, yeah, we sold this thing, we signed to a label, but we might not be 100% comfortable with it, and now we're kind of at the you know whatever we're living with the man now, kind of thing,
Yeah.
making a deal with the
yeah,
devil.
almost like, hey, are we selling out, right?
Right? Yeah.
By making this deal, yeah.
Hmm. Oh yes, say goodbye when you see me sign. Now I'm
And
crucified. Yeah.
and really it's like it's very interesting to do research and look back at before they signed a record deal, all the people that were trying to get them to sign with their record label, including Madonna.
Hmm.
And it's just interesting to see it, and then to hear these lyrics. It's like they saw firsthand some of these record companies and the games they play, the pricing games that they play, and they just
Yeah.
want to get you to sign the bottom that dotted line, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like they sign, but like feeling bad about it, or they
yeah.
they they don't necessarily like all the other stuff that comes along with being like a
Hmm.
mainstream popular band kind of thing. They want to go back to just like singing in the clubs, but
Exactly.
they gotta like
You
do
know,
these interviews and do this press and
it's a
like
different type of freedom.
yeah, right.
You know.
Yeah, this one wasn't my favorite. I liked it. The candle metaphor was fun. I think that goes exactly to what you're saying, Tom, about possibly signing to a record label. There's the businessman, the handshake. They'll burn as long as the
Hmm.
candle's there, but when it's over, it's
Yeah.
over.
Hmm.
This one might be a skip just because it's quick, and I'm like, I could do without it if it wasn't on this album.
Yeah.
But then the war's end comes.
Oh, really? Because see, this would be my skip, and
Really?
I think
See,
it's
and I could
because
tell, I could tell by the way Ashley said, and then there's War's End, that
I
Ashley likes
loved
this
it.
track. I could tell, I knew that you were going to like this one, just
I
how you
might
introduced it.
I might be a little prejudiced toward this one though, because this is the part again. It's another live show standard, and you're going from like all these like good songs, like Solid Energy, and then this song comes on, and it's just Lars Fredriksson by himself on the stage, just doing this kind of like acoustically, and it just kind of like brings not I won't say it brings down the mood, but it definitely kind of brings the show to a stop. And you're like, all right, do your song so you can have fun again, kind of thing. It's not necessarily a bad song. Like it's again, it's like one of those like coming of age song. Like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
discovering punk rock. My parents don't like it. They want to kick me out. They think I'm becoming like a Satanist or something because they got like Iron Maiden posters on my wall. Um, it's basically like that. Like, it's still a good song, but if there was any track that I would skip on this album, it'd be this one.
Do you say that now as somebody who's been listening to this album for what do we say 30
Yes,
years, or
yes,
would you say that
100%.
you should listen, would you have listened to this when you were 14 listening to it?
Oh, I liked it. I liked it back in the day. That's why I
Sure.
said I think I've over time I've kind of like soured on this song just because of my live show experiences with this song. I'm like, oh my god, do we have to hear this song again? Like, and the way he does it, it's like kind of like it's like Lars's solo moment.
Gotcha.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, it's not a bad song at all. I just personally, I'm I don't need to hear the song again. It's a good song,
That
but
makes sense. I mean, I
yeah.
love this one. Um, I knew of this song. It's not one that I've put on in the past, but hearing it again, I love a good coming of age tale, especially if we're like, hey, have you heard of Rancid before? This is one you should listen to because this song is like gateway ska, gateway punk, to really get
Hmm.
you into it, to kind of prepare you for the rest of the album.
Right.
Little Sammy's growing up and heading out on her own. I hope we get a Sammy in the movie. So this should have been a hit. I think they could have done well with the song. So knowing that it is on the concert schedule,
Yeah.
I think that would be great for a first
Oh,
time Rancid goer.
it's
Maybe
funny
you
you
can
say
refill
that,
your drink.
Ashley, because really it's like there's enough material here to. This could have been 2 albums,
Oh yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
easily.
Yeah. All their albums have like 20 or so songs on it.
Really.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. They write a lot, but they're quick songs. So it's like a 45 minute. In fact, their last album, I think, was like 20 songs. That was like a half hour. So it was like just like
Wow.
minute and a half, 2 minutes at the most.
I think when I timed this one, it was about 45 minutes from start to finish on the listen. So for 19 songs and 45 minutes,
Hmm.
that's
Like
still a
two.
Rapid
quick listen
pace.
though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I could do a whole like treadmill session and still get up to like 152 beats per minute.
It's punk rock,
It's
baby.
punk rock. Um, so for vinyl collectors that are watching, does Rancid have a greatest hits album?
Do they have a great? I don't. Not that I'm aware. They have a compilation called "All the Moon Stompers," which is just all their ska songs. But I don't think they have an official greatest hits.
Oh, okay. I'm sure that'll come at some point, but
Yeah. They have a
anything.
B and C side, but that's like their only compilations that I'm aware of. There's probably like a bootleg somewhere or something, but
Greatest hits art punk rock.
no.
All right, so we are at. I scrolled.
You
You
don't
don't
care
care
nothing?
nothing.
Mhm. This is another one of my favorites. This would be like a 10 out of 10 to me. Not for any reason in particular. I just like how the song flows. I think the name Jenny DeMilo is a cool name.
Who is
Um,
she? I could not find any info on her, but what a baller move just to call her out. Like it wasn't
yeah,
like, oh, Maddie and I went to Cleveland. No, fuck that girl.
yeah, yeah. Pretty much like, hey, you don't. She doesn't care anything about me.
No.
Um, yeah, like I don't know if it's about like a breakup, or just I mean, pretty much the whole song is like this girl doesn't care nothing about me. That's just really it's like a verse and like a pre-chorus, maybe two verses, but the rest is just like yeah, you don't care about me over and over again.
Well,
Um,
lyrically, this was like, oh my god! Like the first line is, "A cat lies awake when it sleeps. Was she conscious of her own miseries?" Um, that's a punch to the face right there. So you have Lars doing the first verse, and it hits you. You know, this is a diss track to this girl.
mhm.
Loved it.
Yeah,
Loved everything about this.
I do. My favorite Rancid songs are the one where it's like Lars, and then you have Tim Armstrong kind of like punctuating the point, and then back to Lars, and then Tim again. I do like their voices together, which is back to an earlier point. I don't think Billy Joel would have been as good of a member of Rancid because Lars and Tim like they complement each other perfectly in a lot of these songs.
I think you're right. I think that was the best possible duo for what we had here.
Yeah.
But yeah, You Don't Care Nothing
I'm,
was
I'm searching
absolutely perfect.
for crazy on Jenny DeMilo, see if I could find any info.
I tried looking because I was like, is she on Facebook? Like, can we see what her life is like now? But I came up short.
Yeah. I will say it's weird. There's two songs I know that have somebody named like Demilo, like as a last name, and then both songs are like. The other is just called well, it's about the Venus Demilo, but like Venus by Television. It's you won't
Okay.
reveal it because it's like from the '70s, the Marquee Moon. But Venus by Television is also like one of my absolute favorite songs, and the line is I fell right into the arms of Venus Demilo. I always like that line. That's a great line.
Well, for Jenny DeMilo's sake, I hope she is not a real girl after this song. If she is, then
And poor Jenny.
sorry, Jenny.
It's okay. Somebody else asked for her number later on in the 80s, so
Well, this is true. I think that was a different Jenny.
might have
though.
been a different Jenny,
Yeah.
Would have been something if it was the same.
right? All right, we've got As Wicked.
This has nothing to do with the musical,
I
Ashley, so
know.
relax.
All good there. So I
Uh,
thought this was another one of those songs about not ignoring what you see. I didn't know who wrote what here, but there's a lot of writing down and just making songs about observations and experience about daily life, and
uh-huh.
they do this kind of throughout the album, which I think is amazing, especially with the music that they've put along with it. Like they can take some
Right.
like real shitty experiences and what they're going through day to day, and just you know, I saw this today. Let's put an awesome guitar riff behind it and sing about it. And I think this is another one of those.
Yeah, well he does again, it's like one of those things that he's famous for is just seeing like street problems and like bad things happening to people and just like writing about it. There's another song um back in his Operation Ivy days where he talks about just seeing like a guy just getting like beat down on the street and just like people like celebrating the fact that they beat the crap out of a guy and like robbing him and stuff like that. So it's not like a theme that's unfamiliar to him. Yeah, like I think it's another song just about like homelessness and like what he sees, like an old man
Definitely.
on the street, like looking for food in a dumpster, a lady with like a kid and stuff like that. I think it's just like him going through like his daily life, seeing all these homeless people and just writing about it.
Yeah, and I one thing I got out of this one, I mean, definitely everything you just said, Tom. Obviously, it's like just reading some of the lyrics on here. Definitely observing a lot of the poverty, what people are going through. One thing that resonated with me was, that lyric that says, always end up back on the hill, looking down at that landfill. I always go there when I can. To me, it's almost like, hey, even though I'm making music, I'm making records, I'm famous now, I still see what's going on, right? It's like I haven't lost touch with the reality of what some people are going through, and I always go there when I can, just to still put that into word, into music, to say, hey, I still got you.
Oh, Tom, I think we lost your audio.
I don't
Oh,
think
I
he
don't think
can
he can
hear
hear
us
us.
because we lost his audio. Yeah.
Nope. While Tom fixes his audio, let us know so far your favorite songs on this album and where it's ranking so far for you guys. Anybody that's listening on YouTube, on where are we? Instagram, Twitch, TikTok. He'll jump back in a second.
Yeah. We can edit that part out.
I always try to remember.
Oh, we have a good editor.
No, you don't.
Wow.
I think Penny's running amok.
Yeah, so that was my take on this song. Was almost like, hey, I get what people are still going through.
Yeah.
Don't think that I forgot you guys.
Well,
So
exactly. It's one of those songs that there's a lot going on there. It's absolutely sad what goes on in the world, and if you can actually take a second to remember, like, hey, this is I have good fortune
yeah,
coming into my life. That let's you know remember where I came from. Especially to Tom's point, he experienced lack of a home and probably other
yeah.
struggles that go along with that. To remember your remember your roots, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And it's always great when an artist continues to do that. Through whether it's lyrically or through all the good deeds they do to help those that are less fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if we want to continue on without Tom.
We'll
we
give
we
him
had
this.
two more songs to
Oh,
go. Here he is.
All right, I'm back.
you're back.
My phone was dying,
Oh
so
no.
I had to switch to webcam. All right.
All right. So I know you started talking, and we're still at the As Wicked. So I want to make sure we get your thoughts in on that
Okay.
one.
All right. Yeah, I think it's just about homelessness, really.
Yeah.
It was sidetracked. So I don't really remember what I said, but I think yeah, it's just about him experiencing homelessness. He does seem like he's still like grounded as far as like things go.
Mm,
Like he's still like accessible. Like he's not like even though he's considered like this punk rock king now. Like I don't think if you saw him on the street, he'd like think he's like too good for you. He seems like he's kind of like stayed humbled in that sense, and probably because of the fact that he knows where he came from and like what he's been through. Like he doesn't like feel disconnected from um, the common folk.
Yeah, for sure. And we were just saying too, remembering kind of where you came from and your roots, regardless of the amount of success you had, is so important. So kind of calling attention to that in this album, which ended up with so much success, in the previous one and this one, I think it's a really good way to stay humble.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Avenues and alleyways.
Yeah. This is another one that I like a lot. It's pretty much, I mean, again, more things change and more things stay the same about unity and like trying to like get together with like your fellow man for the greater good and not being like, you know, you know, being anti-racist and just trying to live together as one kind of thing.
Yeah.
yeah. I definitely like some of the lyrics in this one. The media paints a picture that stains all our eyes, pits the dogs against the cats. Now who is responsible? The power in the issue, the force is unstoppable. So again, just how easily sometimes society can be distracted by media and what's going on, and it's really ultimately a distraction. It's like don't give in to that creation of hatred when it's not there. It's like they're just trying to promote their own agenda.
Right. George Carlin actually had like a famous sketch where he kind of like talks about the same thing, like how the media is always putting like groups of people against each other, like straight against the gays, like pro-choice versus pro-life, black against white. They want everybody like bickering against each other so that the rich, can like take off to the bank and like keep making bank. And as long as the people keep fighting with each other, nobody's going to see what the real problem is, kind of thing. And it's kind of the same thing with this song. Like, yeah, the media is trying to pit us all together when we should be as one, fighting against like the real enemy, kind of thing.
And that's just, classic punk, right? Like punk bands are always calling that stuff out. It's like, like wake up, people, like,
right.
Yeah, with you 100%. That, like, lyrically, I think this is my favorite song off the album. It moves quick, but the last line from verse 2, the power and passion of a million youth, right? Inciting the next generation for what's to come. And respect to Rancid on that one, especially given, all the points that we've just made. They talk about battering rams, opening up avenues and alleyways. There's some political undertones, and then we got the battle cry, the oi, oi, oi. I'm here for this one. It's true punk.
Love a good oi, 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 right?
Yeah.
It gets you going.
Definitely one of the stronger tracks on the album.
For sure.
In fact, in the back of my shirt, that's what the song is. The group's probably backwards, but it's Avenues and Alleyways.
Yeah.
That's what was printed on the back of this shirt. Again, vintage 1995, extra large. Because when you're a 5'8", 140-pound freshman, you need extra large. Anything fitted back in the 90s, you were a giant nerd.
Were you one of those kids that had like the Janko jeans too?
Thankfully, I never got into Janko jeans, but like the extra large shirts that was like my whole closet. So I can't even really fit in an extra large now. It's way too baggy, let alone when I was like 30, 40 pounds lighter.
Sure, I mean.
I don't even know what Janko jeans are. My other half is in here to tell me what it is.
Lucky.
You never wear.
Yeah, you didn't miss any. Although I did see somebody in a pair not too long ago, so they are making a comeback. Hopefully not a full-fledged comeback, but they're out there.
Yeah. So you do know that's going to be my first question when he walks in. Ashley's like, "Hey, did you ever hear Janko jeans? Like, what are they?"
You'll find out, and you'll be like, "Oh God."
Yeah, get prepared. Yeah. By the time you get to a Korn album, you'll be well versed.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we've got the final song on the album, "The Way I Feel."
I like this one too. Actually, one more fun fact: this song was originally supposed to be just like a hidden track on the album. Like it was like just kind of back in the 90s with CDs, you'd have like the mystery track or like the hidden track, like the last song to play, then you have like 2 minutes of silence, and then all of a sudden a new song would come in. This song was originally supposed to be the mystery song, but they ended up just putting it on the album proper for whatever reason. But it's another good song. It's another like one of those songs like The Person I Thought I Knew, like climbing the corporate ladder and became like they abandoned all their morals and like their beliefs to like kind of like get a step up in life, and kind of like if I knew back then, like I wouldn't have been friends with you in the first place if I knew you were going to like abandon your morals so quickly.
What do you guys think about this being the closing track? The right place for it? Or would you have chosen a different song to close out the album?
Let me see.
I would have swapped the last two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind it, probably because I'm so used to how it is. It's always been that way. That was always like the closing track to me. I don't mind it. I think it probably would have played better as like a hidden track, kind of. Kind of like Nirvana, Nevermind. You have like Something in the Way is a great closing track, but if you're falling asleep and all of a sudden you're like jolted awake by Endless Nameless, it's like this iconic like hidden track. I wouldn't say that that's like the a great ender, but it's there and you know it's there. Same thing with this song. Like it's maybe not the strongest closing track, but I appreciate it. I like it. I guess I like it.
Yeah, I like this one. Knowing that it was supposed to be like a secret hidden track, that explains quite a bit.
Makes more sense, yeah.
Lyrically, there was, you pick me back up just to throw me back down. It's giving you call me up again just to break me like a promise. It's their version of All Too Well. So I liked it lyrically, and it may not be about a relationship, but I've had conversations with even friends who are like, oh, well, you seem different. And honey, the truth is I feel different about you because you're a bitch. So I think this is just a really good song for that.
Would you say the lyrics were?
You pick me back up just to throw me back down.
Yeah, what the line after that?
Is very it's giving you call me up again just to break me like a promise.
Yeah, that's not it. It's pick me back up just to throw me back down. Then it's apologies are too late when you're up against the wall.
Yes. So the second half that I was quoting is Taylor Swift. It's okay. You do this on purpose just to be an asshole. So
okay.
The whole thing
you got me.
It's okay.
I thought, well, it's funny because if you actually look at like some like the lyrics like on Apple Music or Spotify,
they're very different.
Yeah, so I thought it was just like a misquoted lyric or something. Like especially if you go on Instagram, like I don't know what kind of like AI they're using, but half the time it's not even like what the hell is this?
No,
so
we don't try
that was on purpose. Okay,
that was just a way for Ashley to mention Taylor Swift without suggesting a Taylor Swift album at the end of the podcast. Because you still haven't. I think and I'm just waiting for it to drop one of these days. And it's like, I'll just.
How dare you suggest such a thing about Taylor Swift? Obviously, I had to kick him out.
Oh, okay.
No, I haven't suggested Taylor yet. But this song, so their line is, you pick me back up just to throw me back down. It's, I know you're doing this on purpose. And it's that toxic relationship. So you know that the person is doing this. So I think lyrically this is awesome. And you're right. The lyrics all over the internet are very scattered on what is accurate. Spotify was pretty close. Music Match I found to be the most reliable.
Yeah, this album's not too bad. Going because it's their most mainstream album, so they probably had like enough like edits and like fixes. Plus, I think it actually comes with a lyric sheet too, so that helps.
They're very tiny on the vinyl, though.
Oh, and they're written in like that punk rock font too, right? Yeah, like very
And there's a lot of songs on here actually, so they need to fit it all on there.
You know what? I needed a magnifying glass, and I was like, let's go find some lyrics. But when I was finding the mismatches, I'm like, oh, a mystery. Here we go. All right. So that brought us to the end of the album. What's everybody's final thoughts?
This is the most exciting part for me, anyway.
Well, I give it a 10.
Well, do you even want to know how our rating system?
10.
No, it's just a 10.
A plus 10. Recommend. What's your rating system?
So obviously, if it's making this list, you're not going to give it a 2. So we started a 7. A 7 is a pretty good album. Would recommend. 8 is a need for my collection. 9, amazing album that makes it into my regular now playing rotation. And a 10 is the best of the best, reserved for 2% of 1,001 albums. A total of 20 will likely exist within this list.
So if I have 1,000 albums, it'd be like a must listen for 20.
Yeah.
Or like, okay.
So you really gotta love an album and say, this is a solid 10 for these reasons. And I always say ratings are subjective. Listen to the music. Find your own connection to the music.
Okay, well, if this is the rules we're going by, there are Rancid albums I like more than this, so I guess I can't give it a 10. What was a 9?
A 9 is, giving you exact, amazing album that makes it into my regular now playing rotation.
And do you have like number attached to this, like a percentage, or is this just like
no? This is the ratings really are made up. These are just what I call them, and you're welcome to do like a 7.4, an 8.25, whatever you really feel like, because again, these ratings really don't matter at the end of the day.
You know, I'm doing a thing on Instagram where I'm individually ranking every single Rancid song, and I believe this album, the rank. Oh, my phone's over there. I think this came out to like an 8.24 or something like. So I'm going to give it a solid 8.24, but it should be a 9. I'm going to go split the 8.75. Final answer.
All right. You said 8.74?
7.5.
7.5.
7.75
You know what?
from Tom.
7.6. 7.6.
All right. Couple comments and chats from Bobby. You say, looking forward to giving the album a more full listen on his drives this week, which means you have one day to come up with some Rancid trivia questions.
Okay.
And Kevin, you getting kicked out was karma.
I think that's exactly what happened.
What are your thoughts on this album, Kevin?
I think I have to listen to it a handful more. This was one of those, and I think I told Ashley this earlier today. I said, this is probably the least prepared I am for one of our podcasts, just because of RSD recuperation time, I guess. I mean, we were out in line for what was it, 13 hours, 14 hours or something, and beautiful weather overnight. It didn't stop downpouring on us all night. So I think, to be fair, I have to listen to it more, right?
Okay.
But I have no qualms whatsoever with giving it an 8. But I think if I hear it more, like, the rating would change, if that makes sense.
Change better or worse?
I don't think it would be worse. I think it would change the other way around.
Because if it was going to be worse, I was going to say don't listen to it again if you're going to make it worse.
Right. No. I'm very stingy with my scoring. So
he is.
Yeah. See, I knew.
I finally got a 10 out of him last week.
And what was last week's again? Was that
Downward Spiral? From
all right. I did listen to that one. I didn't know if I missed one or not.
Yeah, but yeah, I would give it an 8. If anything, it would go up from there. Would not go down.
All right. And so for anybody listening in chat on any of the platforms we're streaming to tonight, feel welcome to throw your ratings in, your favorite songs. We love hearing those. For me, overall, this record is energetic, loud, and chaotic, which I am absolutely here for. I've known a handful of these songs scattered from the 90s to now, but never did the full listen. And I think this is the album that when you hear people talk about Rancid, they say the guitar riffs are legendary. And not only is there punk and ska that's easily identifiable, but you do feel a lot of that soul, the influence from like the Ramones, Jimmy Cliff. And this came out in a time where other bands that have really gone mainstream over time were also coming out. So we had Green Day, The Offspring, Weezer. So they had a sound that really made a difference in this timeline, especially for 1995. So they went gold and platinum much later. They pulled influence, and they stayed true to what people say is supposed to be that true punk sound, not that fake punk stuff that people say I listen to. So I think this is a classic album, and it's a solid 8 for me. And I think if I was in the middle of summer, this would be a 9, because I love this type of music in the summer when it's meant to be listened to.
I'll accept that.
And talk to me in August when this is on full blast, and it'll likely be a 9 by then.
I will.
But I am a solid 8.
I thought you'd be listening to Folklore by then.
That is in August, but we got to mix it up.
Is that the newest Taylor Swift Taylor's edition coming out, or
no? That one won't get a Taylor's edition, but I usually around the fall Ashley reminds me that it's Folklore season. Like,
okay,
get a hot cup of chai and put your sweater on and put on Folklore.
August is Folklore month because the song August is on Folklore.
I haven't hit my Taylor era yet, so a lot of this stuff is foreign to me. I didn't know fall was Folklore season. I'll have to remember that.
Well, if you hang out with Ashley enough, she'll remind you.
I will. It'll get real annoying. All right. So towards the end of our stream, we do album recommendations that we say these might make the list. What do we hear from everybody about them? I think I mentioned it when I put it in the original email to you, Tom. Did you pull some albums? Or I
do have 3. All right. I was going to go with a theme. I was
Okay.
either going to do like 3 albums from '95, 3 albums like Bay Area bands, or like 3 albums like from like the Rancid side projects. But I figured I'll just do one of each. So number one, oh no, if it'll show up or backwards, we have up. Yes, oh no, it looks cool.
Looks. Oh, I just lost you both. I'm gonna give you a second to come back. I promise I didn't kick you out intentionally.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, this is like
one?
yeah, legendary ska band. This is probably, if you want to say Operation Ivy is more influential than Rancid, I would listen to you. Because again, this is Tim Armstrong, Matt Freeman before Rancid. Very, very ska, like legendary, like skater punk kind of music. Like anybody who considers themselves like a skater punk probably has that, like the tattoo of that guy right there. All right. It's a very like famous like punk rock album. So that'd be number one. Number two, if you don't have this album already like on your like to-do list, I'm gonna consider this podcast null and void. This is both the third album from a band, probably their biggest album, and it's also a Bay Area band. So there's a connection. Third album, Bay Area band. It's Green Day, Dookie.
Yeah.
You're talking about them before. Okay, good. All right, good. So I can still listen to this podcast. But yeah, another album number 3, legendary. Like every song on it is like a hit, pretty much. Like you can listen to it over and over again. And then I was like looking for albums that came out in '95. And I like this one. I don't really like the band now. I kind of feel like they like another band that kind of like became corporate rock sellout, but their first like couple albums are really good. It's the original Foo Fighters album.
Ooh.
All right, it's a lot of good. It's the album that Dave Grohl did with like all the instruments by himself. It's probably like in my opinion, the best. Well, the second one's pretty good, but this is probably their best album in my opinion. A lot of good songs on it. So those are, again, just like one from '95, Bay Area punk, and then like a Rancid, like offshoot album. So again, not necessarily 3 of my favorites, but I figured they fit well with this podcast. So
You have Bobby's approval. He says good ones, Tom. So
good.
Dookie
You know,
classic. So
as long as Bobby likes it, I'm happy.
Perfect.
I'm doing this for Bobby.
Well, there you go. It's a good thing. I was gonna pick a Green Day album too, and I was like, nah, I'll just wear a Green Day T-shirt today.
Yes, yes, I saw your shirt, and Ashley was talking about Green Day earlier. I was like, all right, they must have this album on the lineup. All right.
Do you want to show one of yours, Zach?
Oh, sure. The first one that I grabbed is The Killers' Hot Fuss. Love this album. It's got, God forgive me, I can't think, Mr. Brightside on it. As the new generations don't stop believing. I think this is a classic Killers album. They have a ton of albums that are worth listening to, but I think if you were trying to get into the Killers, this is a good place to start. So I would start there.
There you go.
One of my wife's all-time favorite albums, life albums, as she calls it, is Sam's Town. The album right after it.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh, Jenny was a friend of mine. That's another. I love that.
There you
song.
go. One of my picks is Garbage's debut album.
Oh.
So, yeah, I mean, Only Happy When It Rains and Stupid Girl is on here and a bunch of other goodies. So, and I do love Shirley Manson. So, Garbage's debut album.
Did that come out in '95 too?
I don't know. Let me see.
Yeah. Oh, August 15th, 1995. There we go.
There you
Did
go.
you guys plan this one? Is that what happened here?
No,
did not plan that.
I picked Smash from The Offspring.
Oh, that was going to be another one of my picks.
Offspring so freaking much. It has Bad Habit, Gotta Get Away. This is a no skip album. When you put it on, you don't skip the songs, and the songs that they play off this album live. I feel that Offspring is very staged now, but there isn't a time that I won't skip their concert when they come around. In fact, Ashley, if you're still watching, we still have to buy tickets, but we're going. So.
Well, there you go. For me, my next one is Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream. So, Cherub Rock, great intro into the album, and I was debating on which Smashing Pumpkins album I would pick, but that's the one I picked.
All right, that just came out too for RSD on the Essentials vinyl.
Yeah, on the Essential, yeah, which has the original album cover, with the not the purple and orange coloring. So yeah, came out as an RSD Essential.
I didn't even know they had a different cover. I've only just known the original.
Yeah,
They change them depending on the release to
yeah,
make it
they do.
exclusive. That's how they get the vinyl
They
collectors.
That's how they get these vinyl people to buy all these variants.
All right, my last one. I've waited 10 episodes.
Oh no, not Taylor Swift. Is
It's
she finally
Taylor
making an
Swift.
appearance?
Okay, and I really toggled with which one to recommend. And I
Oh.
was between two. One was Folklore, but I did go with 1989 from Taylor Swift.
That would be the one I would suggest also.
That's the big one.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
It is the pop album, and arguably, I think when I talked to Swifties, what is your favorite Taylor Swift album and why? The answer was 9 times out of 10, 1989 as the top.
Yeah.
Because it is the pop Bible.
I would definitely go with that. I mean, Shake It Off was everywhere.
It still is.
Right?
Shake It Off was not on 1989.
Oh no, it's not. Whatever. I was just testing your knowledge.
Yeah. Try again. No, 1989 is an amazing album. The Taylor's version is so much better than vault tracks from any of her releases. This was the one. So I'm ready for some Taylor.
Yeah, so for my last pick, I actually had a hard time picking my favorite album by this band. And I don't even know if this is my favorite, but this is the one I wanted to pick. I was tossing around Prequel and Infestium, but I guess in honor of their new album coming out this next week, Scalata, I'm going to pick Ghost Impera for as one of the ones that I think should belong on the list.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you speak very highly about Ghost.
Yeah. You'll listen. I mean, we are having a listening party at the record store that we work at for fun, I guess is how I should describe it, right?
Yes, I will be forced to finally listen to Ghost.
The fun job. So you will finally listen to. And thank you, Bobby, for saying that Shake It Off is on 1989. Neener, Ashley. Look at your track listing.
Well, I'm tired. Let's chalk it up to that today.
but yeah, so I think for people that just know Ghost by their theatrics and not listen to any of the music will actually be surprised by some of their music. So I think I won't give too much away until we're at the listening party.
Fair enough.
Has it come out yet, or do you have like an early copy?
We actually, because of the listening party, we have an early copy of it, which sometimes they send it digitally, sometimes they send a vinyl, sometimes they send a CD, but we'll actually be playing it at a little after 11 o'clock at the listening party. And by the time the album ends at midnight, it's the official release day. So customers will be able to pick up that album. We're one of only 2 locations in Massachusetts and at Max J Records in Fairhaven, Mass. So hoping for an awesome turnout.
Cool.
Yep, because at 12 a.m., that's exactly what I want to do is listen to Ghost. Cool. All right, so that's going to take us to the end of our podcast. My goodness, Rancid and Out Come the Wolves officially gets an 8 from me, an 8 from Kevin, which will likely possibly change when he listens to it again, and we've got an 8.76 from Tom.
Yes, I'm solid on that 8.76.
I dig it.
Well, you still have a chance to bring it up to 8.77.
You know what? Like Ashley, maybe in the summertime.
Okay.
We'll bump it up.
We learned very early on that punk rock is for summer, so.
Yes.
I think maybe it wasn't raining today.
Is that an actual thing? Is punk rock for summer?
I like it better in the summer.
Really? Interesting. Okay.
I like the sleeveless shirts and the ripped jeans and ripped shorts and stuff. So I prefer the summer punk look too.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I don't want to go to a punk rock concert in the middle of the winter and then.
Yeah.
it's an outdoor thing.
You don't wear your formal wear to a punk rock
I do
concert.
not.
Is that what you think?
No.
Okay.
Actually, I lost a shirt at a Rancid show once. It got ripped right off of me.
Oh my goodness.
So I do have pictures somewhere to prove it. I was wearing like a sleeveless shirt, and somebody was crowd surfing, and their like leg got caught in my shirt hole and just all the way down. So good times always. Yeah.
That's Rancid for you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, amazing. So we are not here this Thursday. We are taking the rest of the week off, but next week we will be back with some album that we will decide on before then. So please make sure you like our Facebook, our TikTok, our Instagram, all of our social media so you can stay updated. Tom, thank you again so much for joining with us. This was
Thank you.
great.
It was fun.
You'll have to recommend another album that we can go through because this was very enlightening. You are a wealth of knowledge for Rancid. Super fan.
Thank you. Yes. Any other band, maybe not so much, but Rancid, I know my stuff.
Perfect. Well, any recommendation you want to make, feel welcome anytime.
That sounds good.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will see you, what will be